Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Martavius,
And Cash here.
and welcome to another episode of
Never
Miss
Miss
a
a
Monday. So,
Monday.
welcome to Never Miss a Monday.
Hey, y'all.
We're feeling good today because we actually got away this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where did we go, Cash?
We went to Tallulah Gorge,
Oh, yeah.
which is like northeast Georgia, I would say. It's pretty close to South Carolina. And oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful.
Just gorgeous out there.
Beautiful. I mean, the landscape. There's a lot of stairs. So if you do happen to go to Tallulah Gorge, be ready to elevate, literally, because you will be climbing stairs. But it's so worth it.
And it usually is like that. Like when you get away, like even the drive, it's just like driving there and having to get gas and then just like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Type of thing. But then when you actually get there, it's like, wow, like went through all this stuff, but to actually get here, it just feels so great. So,
And wait,
yeah.
before we dive into our episode, it's so funny. You said we went through all this stuff. We literally went through all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To go to Tallulah. We did not plan. We talked about it maybe a couple weeks ago that we wanted to just take a quick road trip. If you're listening to it in real time, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, so our beach trip kind of got delayed.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, we decided that we're just going to take a day trip, go on a hike somewhere, and just kind of be able to get a change of scenery. So we did not plan at all. We just knew that we were going to go to Tallulah Gorge. Marty was already north, which we thought Tallulah Gorge was just generally north. He was north at our studio at work, and I was like, okay, great. I'll just meet you there and we'll drive up because we figured it was going to be that direction of north.
Yeah.
No, it was totally not. We turned on the
The
GPS,
opposite way.
and it's like, oh, we actually have to go past the house to get to Tallulah. So, yeah, that was step
But it worked
one.
out.
Yeah, but it
worked
definitely
out.
worked out on the way. Like once we finally get into the city, it starts to rain. And then we're like, oh my gosh, great, it's raining. And then we kind of get lost because it was not so
It wasn't so
obvious.
clear. Yeah.
I mean, maybe you guys go up there and like, duh, how'd you get lost? But the sign didn't say, it wasn't a big entrance sign. The sign said interpretive center. That could mean many things.
You can interpret it many different ways.
So we interpreted it in the incorrect way. And so we drove around probably for a good 20 minutes before we had to make a U-turn and come back and like, oh, where we passed the first time was indeed the entrance.
Yeah.
But I actually forgot all of that we even went through all of that beforehand until you just mentioned you're going to go through a lot. It's like, oh yeah, we did kind of.
Had a little adventure.
Yeah, had a little adventure before we got to the real adventure. But all of that to say, you might go through some stuff to get to taking that break, but you'll forget that you even went through it because the break will be so good.
Absolutely. Because when we got there and saw the views and shared the photos, so if y'all follow us on social media, y'all probably saw some of the photos that we shared of the gorge, but it was just so amazing. Just, I love that feeling of feeling so small and just feeling so tiny. Like, it's just like looking up at the stars. It's like feeling like, wow, there's this greater thing out there. Or even just that experience this weekend. It's like, there's just greater things out here than what's going on, with me. So it's always just great to just reconnect and disconnect even, just so you can reconnect back to reality or your world or your work, which again, may be stressful at times. So us understanding that, we just wanted to get away this weekend. So we did it. We just took a spontaneous getaway and just got away. So in this episode, we're talking about that, just the benefits of getting away and why is it good to get away? Like, why is it important to get away? So we have a little, some stats and some research to share with you all a little bit in the episode. But I just want to start off by just saying, what is getting away? Like getting away from what? And Cash mentioned it earlier, but just getting away from stressful situations and just having this, break away from something, even during this buildup of, okay, there may be some stress points, before you get to the real thing, but when you get there, it's like that's the whole point and purpose. So you can have this mental reset, because that's where brain fog comes from. That's where this, cloudy brain or what am I going to do? Or I can't think straight. Like those type of feelings and those things that happen, in our real lives. We just need that mental break at times to just take a pause and reset. And that's what just getting away does for you. Just helps you to take that pause and really put the pieces together, because when we're in the work, sometimes we don't see everything, because again, it's like being in the picture and you can't see the whole thing because you're in the picture. But if you had somebody to step back, or if you could step back, you could see the whole frame and the outlines and everything and how it all connects and makes sense to this one big, beautiful image. But if you're in it all the time, then it's very difficult to see what the bigger picture is sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And another really great thing about taking a break is that it helps you to avoid burnout. A lot of times you can get burnt out just from the ins and outs and the rat race of life. We live in a very now-based, instantaneous society, and that takes a toll on us in different ways. People expect for us to supply whatever they demand in that moment, and sometimes that's just unrealistic for where you may be at. And sometimes you may be supplying those demands, and those stressors are just building and building and building and building. And that's all you see. You wake up and supply, supply, supply. You go to sleep, you replenish a little bit, and then the next morning it's supply, supply, supply. But eventually, if you don't step out of that rat race, that supply and demand cycle, you will eventually reach a point of burnout. And I think our body gives us signals before we get to that point. But it's okay to take a break and know that it's necessary to take breaks. You're more productive when you take breaks. You think more clearly when you take a break. And that's not to say life should be a break, but there's got to be balance. So if you're in a space where you do feel exhausted, you feel unmotivated, and it's just every single day is a drag, maybe you should take a break. If you can't go for a full week, maybe give yourself 2 days. I mean, we literally took 1 day, and that was great. And you may need more, you may need less, but listen to your body, notice the signs. And if week in, week out, you're just over it, it might be time to step away from your current situation, to go in and just decompress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just great, because we all do need that, as far as just having that disconnection point, to where we're getting away and we're able to really avoid that burnout, because that's where a lot of, again, when you're having this work break, and this is a great tool for you all listening, is, the Pomodoro. It's just like, again, you're building that break in throughout your work, so you're working straight for 25 minutes. Some people do a 50-minute Pomodoro. But if you're just starting off, you can start with 25 minutes and just work, focus on whatever you're doing. It could be reading, it could be writing, it could be having a conversation, helping your kid with their homework, whatever it may be, but just doing that thing straight on for 25 minutes focused. And then 5 minutes afterwards, you're just resting. So you're, going outside for a walk, you're playing an instrument or listening to music, you're meditating, you're eating a snack or something, anything that just takes your mind off of that intense level of focus. Again, by building these in throughout our day, we're able to, again, better avoid burnout too, and the vacation is like the ultimate, 5-minute break. It's just, you're taking that way away, that weight too, but you're going way away from what you're doing, and you get to reset and recharge and refocus and come back to your work with more clarity, with more focus, with more energy, with more vibrancy. It's just like you have a lot more to contribute because you gave yourself something that your body needed. Again, listening to those signs, those telltale signs that say, hey, stop, hey, take care of yourself, hey, get better rest, whatever it is, just listening to that and paying attention to what that says.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So now we're going to kind of share some of the studies that we found on vacations. And there's actually studies that you guys can look up. But I will share a few that we found that really stood out to us. So a study released in 2016 by the American Psychological Association concluded that vacations work to reduce stress by removing people from the activities and environments that they associate with stress and anxiety. Similarly, I can by the end of share some of the studies that we found on vacations, and there's actually studies that you guys can look up, but I will share a few that we found that really stood out to us. So a study released in 2016 by the American Psychological Association concluded that vacations work to reduce stress by removing people from the activities and environments that they associate with stress and anxiety. Similarly, a Canadian study of nearly 900 lawyers found that taking vacations helped to alleviate job stress. Job stress. Another study that we found, and this was really cool to me because this actually has to deal with heart disease prevention. So there have been studies that have found that your cardiovascular health can benefit leaps and bounds from taking vacation. So in one of these studies, men at risk for heart disease who skipped vacations for 5 consecutive years were 30% more likely to suffer heart attacks than those who took at least a week off each year. So 30% more likely to suffer a heart attack for men who had skipped vacation for 5 years or more. That's insane.
Right. Especially like with the stories that we, give ourselves of like, we got to work hard, don't sleep.
It's crazy.
Grind all week.
There's another study that had similar results with women. So women who took a vacation once every 6 years or less were almost 8 times more likely to develop heart disease, have a heart attack, or die of coronary related cause than those who took at least 2 vacations per year. Now that's crazy. So 8 times more likely to suffer heart disease, heart attack, or a coronary related issue just from skipping vacations. That's huge. And that just goes to show you, like you said, like Marty just said, we're so consumed with being productive, with work, and getting things done that we forget in order to reach that level of efficiency, of productivity, of getting things done, we must take a break. And again, life is not to be a complete break, but earlier in the episode, Marty mentioned Pomodoro. It's 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes of rest. That same idea can be, if you take it to more of a macro level, could be applied to your life, So maybe for every 25 days of work, you give yourself 5 days of rest or 5 hours of rest, which seems like not that much, half a day, but you give yourself 1 day. Every day out of the month, you get 1 day to do absolutely nothing. Or 7 days out of the week, you take 1 day to rest. But knowing that those breaks are just as important as the productivity, and it's proportional. So you're not taking your life off, you're taking a period of time so you can recover off.
Absolutely. And just like with working out, it's like if you want to get stronger, you have to take breaks. It's like you're going to get to this point of failure to where your muscles can't take anymore, your body can't take anymore. And that's your body telling you that, hey, you need to rest. Hey, I need to be replenished with things. So the same thing with our mind, the same thing with our work and stress levels, just managing those things so we can get to a better place and just keep producing prolific work.
Yep.
So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to this episode of Never Miss a Monday. Join us next Monday. And if you have any topics that you want us to share, just send us a private message on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find us on the website.
Slide into our DM.
Absolutely. To say like, hey, I want you guys to talk about this. I've been having some issues with that. So we just get some research and episode material out to you all. So thanks again, and we'll see y'all next Monday.
See y'all on the uppity up, flippity flip, flip flop.
The flippity flop.
Flip flop, flip.
Bye, guys.
Bye.